Hello, you are here for one more lesson of this T-Flex CAD training course, and the topic for today will be the databases. T-Flex has the capabilities to create databases inside, and we can give a very good example of the use for these databases has a command that allows us to create catalogs of products in one single drawing. So instead of creating a family of drawings of the same element, part, whatever it is of drawing, with different dimensions, it is possible to create these databases with measurements, and with a simple click of another dimension, we can parametrically change the element. It's quite easy, and I will show you a very simple example. We can work with two types of databases, the internal databases and the external databases. For the external databases, I invite you to check our theoretical course, because we have explained the different types of files and other characteristics, and we will focus on the internal ones. Okay, so the idea it is to create a rectangle with a circle in the middle, and I will start to create the database. So parameters, database, and we have all of these functions here, so simply create a new one. I can give it a name, it's not very important, just call it D. Just say OK for now, and we will create the columns of the characteristics of the drawing that we will want to change. So because we are talking about a rectangle with a circle, I will create the first one, an R for the radius of my circle. I can put a comment in here. Say the type of data that I will insert, integer, real, text, whatever it is, I will leave integer. For this example it is enough. And if I want additional columns, just leave this create next checked. So OK, insert the L for the length, OK, and finally the H for the height, and leave this create next, OK. The database it is created with a couple of lines, and I can use these functions to add more lines and so on, or simply come in here and say before or after. It is at this moment it is 0, so it's not very important. So I will fulfill this with a couple of dimensions. In here you can insert the dimensions for your family of parts, so simply something like this. The database it is created, and one additional characteristic that we can see it is that when we save the file, both drawing and the database are inside the same file. So database done, coming to the drawing, and I will create now the variables, because we will use the variables to connect the drawing to the database. So variables, you know already this, and I will create a couple of variables that will make the linkage of this information with functions. For the functions, I will show you here an example for several functions we have available, but again there are some details, and I will invite you to check more details on the theoretical side of the course. Okay? So creating a new variable, first I will create a variable for the length, and I will call a function called val for the parameter n, which it is on the database, comma, database d, and the parameter l, close brackets, done. Now I will create the n, and I will use another function, this time the rec function. The database d, parameter r, and r again, close brackets, and That's it. Okay. And now calling the parameter R, I can use another function. Sorry, in this particular, I will use first. I will insert first the parameter H. I will use another function called find, called the database D parameter H, and we'll check inside the database the parameter R, because this parameter R for the radius, it is what it will change the database. So, and finally, sorry, it did not check. I must put the R first. So the R, I will use the values of the database, and I will use the value of the R, and just select from this field, doing the OK. It's an external variable, and that's it. Okay. So now I can choose from these two different values, and you see that the variables will change. Okay. Now simply make a drawing and use the variables for this drawing. So creating something like this, creating a line. I will put the L, the L, insert. Now I will create one for the top and H. Okay. I will create a line in the middle and again in the middle, and finally a circle which I will insert for the radius. Okay, it is done. I will create a couple of graphical entities, sorry, and in here, and my drawing, it is done. The variables are applied. So now if I call this, I could use other functions that we still did not use, like creating a mini CAD environment. We will see in the next lessons. And basically, if I change my drawing, my variables, sorry, the drawing will change, and this is using a database of values. So this is a very simple example to show the possibility. For sure we can put this on much more complex, because this is a basic drawing, but at least I hope that this very simple example shows you how to or the possibility that we have using these variables.